All right, beauties.
Number 5.
Oh, 5.
Fiver.
Hello. We came to say hello.
We're very musical today.
We don't need
We're musical
music
every
intro. We
day.
have Tiana.
Yeah, Tiana can just sing our intro.
Tiana
Screw making
sing
one.
us in every time.
Should I do that?
Yeah, probably.
People are going to be like, and I'm done.
Suddenly, we're not getting any new subs.
Monday, April 11th. It's my tiniest human's birthday, so it's a special day for me.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm still coming down for my birthday, so it's still a special day for me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably going to celebrate my birthday for the rest of the year.
Why not?
Yeah.
Now that's living abundantly.
Right?
I like it, which is kind of leads into what we're talking about.
Living
Living abundant, leading with your heart.
Living the way you want the world to be.
Focusing on the timeline that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Well, and that's how you bring it about, right? It's not about sitting and going, oh, I wish. I mean, in the beginning stages, yes, but at some point you got to walk your talk. At some point you got to walk your wishes. At some point you have to be the change you want to see to bring it about, right?
I love that, because so many people, I think, to that will go, well, how am I supposed to do that when? And list all the shatty things that are happening to them. So it's a good topic for us to talk about, because it really is. Sometimes life looks too crappy to lead with your heart and do the things you want to do and be the change you want to see. It's like, how do I actually do that though? Like, I'm working 70 hours a week. I've got nagging boss. I've got nagging children. Maybe I've got a nagging spouse. I don't know what people are dealing with out there, but life can be really challenging. So how do they do that? How do you guys do it?
The choice. You make the choice. It really is honestly that simple. And I know that sounds so just like, really? But
right?
It is choice. We are free will beings, and you have a choice here in how you respond, whether you respond or whether you react, and how you lean into that, right? I mean, a good example is this weekend, as we were chatting about before, my sister had a baby. So I'm an auntie of a beautiful little girl. And I'm friggin' tired. I got to attend that birth and I got to be there. And I mean, anyone who's birthed a child or attend a birth, we know that it doesn't happen super fast. And I mean, we were lucky this was a pretty quick birth, but I was still up in the middle of the night. And let me tell you, I'm not a night owl at all. I'm an early bird. I like my sleep. I go to bed fairly early. I wake up very early every day. So, being up in the middle of the night, you're kind of going off adrenaline and it's amazing, but it's kicked my butt. And I've been very, very tired since. And I feel my sleep is kind of mucked up since. And I can get a little bit cranky, right? I mean, I think everybody can. So, the day after the baby is born, you're on a high of happiness, but at the same time, I'm still kind of like, I want to be left alone, and I don't want to do the human things today, and I don't want to run my errands, and I don't want to get groceries, and I don't want to take care of my kids, and I want to lay in my bed, and I want to Netflix and chill and nap and do those things. And so, like, I was out and I saw this homeless woman, as I was telling you guys before, and inside my head, not that I judge this person, because I'm not that type of person at all, but I'm in a rush. I'm trying to get stuff done. I have things to do and I just want to go home. And I see this woman sitting on the corner, and it's kind of a cold day. It's nice, but it's cold. And she says, oh, excuse me, do you have any money? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. And I keep walking. And I had to stop myself. And I was like, wait a minute. First of all, yeah, you do have money. You have a bit of cash in your wallet. You also have a debit card that you can go get this woman something to eat. She's cold. Put yourself in her shoes for a second. How would it feel? And I was like, okay, you know what? Get out of your tired, cranky head and be what you want this world to turn into, which is helping each other out and letting everyone live with abundance. And everybody has a right to food, and everybody has a right to drink, and everybody has a right to having just some love and respect thrown at them, regardless of what choices she's made to bring her to that moment. So I stopped myself and I literally walked backwards, and I was like, you know what? I don't have cash, but I'd love to buy you lunch. What would you like? And she's like, oh, really? And I bought her some lunch. And guess what? I opened my wallet. Yes, I did have a $5 bill in there. So I took the $5 bill and I gave it to her. She needed it more than I needed it. And regardless of what she was going to do with that $5, I'm in no place to judge that. That's not my business, what she does with that. I have it. She needs it. I can spare it. And I gave it.
And that's the energy right there, right? It's not about what's going to come after that. It's not about the future of that situation that was living in the moment. And yeah, keep going.
Exactly, right? And so giving her that and giving her that opportunity to just have someone sit and witness her and see her and give her what she needed and what she wanted to do. And I got to turn around and feel a little more energy actually come into my body from that. So immediate gratification in exchange was that I got to go from being really tired and a little in my head to fully in my heart, fully present in the moment, going, I just gave someone something cool. And then what happened is I get home and I find out I've got $500 deposited into my bank account because somebody bought my old trailer that we
one
vacation property. And I was like, hey, like totally out of the blue, unexpected. I wasn't trying to sell the trailer. We had this beautiful place that we used to go to in summer and unfortunately we can no longer go there. And so we had to leave our trailer behind because it's not towable and somebody needed it. So they bought it. So, I mean, it was a total surprise to us that my $5 turned into $500 because I got out of my head. I went into my heart. I showed someone love and respect and, you know, communion and just, yeah. And then I like to believe that's why my trailer sold $500, you know, whether people want to buy into that belief or not, whatever. I felt really good. And I would say even more than the 500, even more than the financial abundance is exactly what I said, getting out of my head, getting out of my tired body and going into my heart. And that honestly elevated me enough to get through the rest of my day with such ease and grace.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But it took that decision. I think, like you said at the beginning, how you do it is actually making the decision to do it. And we don't give ourselves enough power sometimes when we're in that reactive state of like, oh, I'm so tired and all these things are happening in my life that I have to do or whatever. And and we don't feel that sense of empowerment until we actually can do something and make that decision and do something outside of ourselves, outside of like in your head stuff that's going on, and just put something out there from your heart, like you did, really giving and being what you want to see in the world. And it really does create magic. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, it really does. And this is what people are missing, right? Like, I think we have this whole programming and this belief that we live in lack. There is not enough. I have to be selfish. I have to keep, you know, and we're always coming from a very selfish place in all the choices that we make. Very seldom is it about everybody else. I mean, maybe your family, sure. But even that has another motive, right? My kid's going to wear the nicest clothes or have the best shoes or you know, do the most sports or the most whatever. Like, we're always coming at it from a self-serving standpoint.
Yeah.
And when we turn it around and we go like, hold on, these are all other souls who are making their choices because their soul chose a certain evolution, a certain journey to have that evolution or that lesson learned. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's what I believe. And that's not mine to judge, because guess what? I've done shitty stuff in my life too. And I hope people were able to show me some humility in that as well, and kindness and compassion, right? Mm-hmm. And so I can't remember where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought.
I got something to jump in there though.
Pick it
right up. The selfishness. I love that you brought that up, because in a way, what you did could almost be selfish, and it's a good selfish, in that you needed to pick yourself up. You needed the energetic hit. You needed to be proud of yourself. And so the universe was like, here's something you can do that will give you that, but it also does something really great for someone else.
Very interesting way to look at it. Because
it is selfish. The more good things you do for people, the more you get back, which is hugely selfish. And I almost like to tell people to be more selfish, because what happens is people get in other people's space and they're like, oh, I got to worry about what Sally says about this. And I got to worry about what John's going to do if I do that. And I got to worry about what they're going to think about this. But what if I was just extremely selfish, did all the things I actually needed to do that made my human happy, that made my energy happy? If I did that, it would ripple out to everyone around me, and I'd be doing great things for everybody too. Right. And I would get that energy back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for sure. Yeah. And I think if you're consciously going around and doing that, then yeah, you can live in that selfish standpoint. But sometimes there's like the selflessness, right? Of like, okay, I am tired and I did have to have that kick in my butt of, who are you to just walk by this person when you have abundance in your life and you have more than enough to share? And I know it's going to come back, and who knows why this human has fallen on hard times, but who the hell am I to judge that? I have something to share. And the rippling effect of that was exactly like you say, like I get to have that little bit of like, you know, upheaval and energy that got me through the rest of my day. So yeah, I mean, I guess if I'm walking around and going, I'm fucking low, I'm going to go buy some homeless people meals and, you know, do it, right? You
And
should.
there's other sides of this card, right? Like, so you're putting one point of view about the selfishness or not selfishness right out there.
Mhm.
But I just was kind of thinking about my own parking lot out here, where you're asked for something and it's kind of dark, and people are saying, "Hey, you got this," and you're like, "Where did you come from?" And you're in a place of fear.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't know what's being asked from you. You don't know what the reaction is going to be. What if I say no? What if I say yes? What if the minute I go and look into my purse, somebody is going to just grab my whole purse from me? Right? So there's other points of this, because I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to watch us and say, well, no, I try not to be selfish. Like, of course we try not to be selfish, but there's also fear around these issues as well. Like,
Or like as if giving
scary.
money to homeless people, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like the fear in the situation of like, I'm here on the corner or whatever. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Right? Like,
gotcha.
Just so that we're kind of playing that devil's advocate for this situation, right? Because nobody wants to be shamed into like, oh, well, Tiana gave a wonderful story. Now I'm going to give money to every person I see, right? Like, use your discernment when you're doing this. Like, Tiana definitely had that little voice saying like, yeah, this one deserves this. Like, this one is a good one to do it.
I love that.
I know there's some frequent flyers in my town that I see them everywhere, and they're always asking. And I know everybody's talking about them. Everybody knows kind of what's going on. And then a little story popped into my head, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I think it was my aunt that had said there were some people in Vancouver that were sitting on the street corner only to get into like a BMW and drive home.
Oh, I've heard that 100%, which is a whole nother subject with the homeless. But you know what I like that this kind of brings in, that Jennifer's really adding in, is the whole, like, you had that nudge, Tiana, like you heard your crown chakra as we're talking, right? You heard your source, you heard your soul. You're like, yep, this is the ping, this is the magic here. And you were able to answer that call, which I think, Jennifer's bringing in, that isn't always the case. Like, it isn't going to be that now every time you walk by a homeless person, you're going to give them money so that you get money when you get home. Right. And we're definitely not saying that. And I think one of the big things that we need to get from Tiana's story is that whole listening to self. And Tiana's tapped in as, AF. So she knows when it's a source nudge or when it's a, something else going on in her field, making her do or not do things.
Yeah, because we don't want to have this conversation and have people be like, oh, I'm guilty of not doing that. Maybe I should do this.
Right.
Saying, listen to your intuition about which way
absolutely
you should go.
It's a subtle little voice that will hit you when it's the right thing to do. And that said, like Jennifer's saying, if you're in a dark parking lot, you're trying to get in your car, no, probably not the wisest choice to like pull out a wallet. I mean, you can have the intention of, I wish you well. I hope you go find your stuff, send some love and some healing energies to that human being, get yourself in a car. But we have this wonderful thing, because we're all energetic, called a resonance field. And if somebody comes into you and you've got those spidey senses tingling and you're like, something about this is not right, there's no judgment in that. You're not looking at the person going, you're a drug addict, look at you, you're this, you're that. It's something does not feel right. Honor that feeling, get yourself safe. But again, exactly as you guys are tapping on too, if you hear that quiet little voice that goes, hold on a second, then hold on a second and remove the judgment and go right into your heart. And your heart is going to always be abundant, and it's going to be offering healing, and it's going to be offering love, and it's going to be offering neutrality and this space of, I see you. I'm witnessing you right now. Yeah, let me help you. Because if I fell on those times, I would want somebody to show me that humility too. I'd want someone to show me that love too, right? So yeah, there's a big difference. I'm not saying go run around town and start throwing money at everybody.
No. And I know that, but I don't want anyone to take us like super literal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, listen to the energy, I think, is the biggest thing, right? Because whether that comes in through your crown and out your heart, or whether that comes because you've got friggin' spidey tinglies up your back, you're not going to go wrong honoring that feeling within self. I mean, for me, this was a young woman who probably wasn't much older than me, sitting on the corner outside of shops with tons of people around. It was a safe situation and a safe time for me to do that. If I was in a dark parking lot trying to get in my car, you best believe I'm going to get in my car and shut the door, hit the lock, right? But I'm also going to be sending out to this person, like, I hope that you're able to overcome whatever it is that's making you give these vibes right now, right?
And I love how you're kind of bringing up, it's almost like in every situation, a good kind of little takeaway for people, or how they can start maybe tapping in and kind of figuring out the when, the yes, the when, the no, is the whole judgment piece, and sort of almost like you want to 0 point every situation. You're kind of faced with a decision. And like, oh, do I go left or do I go right? Do I help this person? Do I not help this person? Do I do this or that? That's where you kind of 0 point and you get rid of the judgments, right? See past maybe your automatic thoughts, beliefs, whatever, and go, okay, what's the truth here? What do I really need to do? What keeps me safe? And again, bringing in the selfish piece, right? Is this the moment where because you don't want to be selfless to the point of your own injury, right? If we bring up the dark parking lot again, right? The eerie feeling and go, oh, but I really want to help this person. So I'm going to ignore the fact that I feel like I'm going to get stabbed and I'm going to pull out my wallet. That's not being selfish, and that's not taking care of yourself. So you can always find, and I think the beautiful thing you added there too, in those situations where maybe you can't give the homeless person money, maybe it's the whole sending them loving energy. That is what you're meant to do in that moment, to give you both the energetic hit that you needed, or why you were brought into this. Maybe that was a moment for you to stand up for yourself and be proud of yourself for not getting in a bad situation.
Using
right?
And honoring those feelings.
Everything that shows up is an opportunity for these kind of connections with self, and to make different decisions, same decisions, deja vu. I don't know if you guys ever talk about that on an energetic level, but people talk about deja vu as an opportunity to redo what you did wrong the first time you were on that timeline, potentially. I've heard that before. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, but
I like that.
It's a way to tune in, No, you guys haven't heard that?
No, because a lot of times my deja vu is something that I definitely saw in a dream.
Ooh.
Interesting.
That's neat.
I've had those types of deja vus too, where I'm like, I know I've lived this. Like, I'm very aware that this has happened before.
Yeah.
It's just a familiar feeling. And it's interesting. No, I agree with you. And I think the big thing is, like, how do we discern now from ego and, creating story to what is the truth and what I'm feeling, and how do I follow through on that? And what is the next right thing for me? I mean, for me, what I would say is your higher self is a feeling. Your higher self is a subtle, calm voice. It's that, hey, hello. When there, you didn't make the right choice. Whereas my ego's going to look and be like, well, what choices did you make to be here? And why can't you figure it out? And, oh, you've got scabs on your face. You've probably done drugs. And you know what I mean? And it's creating story. It's creating belief. It's creating an illusion, or buying into an illusion, instead of, just, hey, okay, here's you. And having neutrality, I think, is a big thing too. If you really want to listen to higher self, it's right. The feelings in our bodies, it's the subtle voice. And then it's, am I neutral in this, or am I judging it? Am I making a comment about it?
I've been able to hear my ego. I really distinguish it as a butthurt kind of feeling, kind of like what you're saying, like the judgmenty kind of thing. So if I'm in a moment where I'm feeling butthurt, is the best way to describe it, about something, then I know it's my ego. Right? My ego gets butthurt and sensitive about things real easy.
Is that ever true? Hey? Yeah, it's so true. Your ego's going to create story to justify why it's okay to feel the way you feel. Always. And it's going to give you every friggin' angle to make yourself right.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's another good way to know. If you're trying to be right about something, you might need to 0 point and just it doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean you're wrong. But if you're trying to be right, and you might very well be right, but if you're trying to be right, you might want to just settle down the old ego and re-look at the situation to make sure.
Is that the truth I want, right? Think, is this, do I really want to be right that bad to hold on to this energy and this feeling and this stagnancy? Or do I want to let it go and make a better choice for myself moving forward, right? So getting back to the original topic of this conversation of living in your heart space, right? And how do we get there, and how do we do that? I mean, number one, listen to that ego. What is it saying? And try and listen to it as an observer, right? Like, well, that's interesting. I'm reacting like that. And what could be behind this feeling? And why am I trying to justify this emotion right now? And why is it so important that I'm right? Well, where was the time in my life before that this has played out and I was made to be wrong? And then what energy came behind that? Was I embarrassed? Was I shamed? Was I sad? Was I disappointed? And look at healing that piece.
Yeah. What do I need to wrap that up?
the three of us are friggin' specialists in it. Give us a call.
Yes.
We help you navigate that, because it's,
I feel like I want to call the Ghostbusters.
I know, and I
we're-
was just gonna say, I think you need to make that into like a little infographic there, what you just said on your fingers, like all of those points for sure, just can be tidied up into a nice little PDF right there.
Put a little
Yeah.
book on it.
Yeah,
we have a Facebook group where you can put that PDF just in case the viewers don't know that.
Yep.
Facebook group where she can put the PDF and then you can come look at it and talk to us.
Yeah,
About it.
Sturdy Women, come join us. It's great over here.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We go live on Thursdays, full time.
And like living in that heart space and having that abundance, like, and abundance doesn't necessarily just mean buying somebody a lunch. Like abundance, you know, offering that help is like what I was saying about helping the lady get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, she just
Totally.
needed tiny little of assistance so that she could make her way home in her car.
She just needed you
Right?
holding the space going, you can do this, lady.
You can
I
do
got
this,
you.
you can
Yeah.
back up, right? And then that little blurb that I was saying, like every time I help some old lady or old man, I feel like I'm helping my future self, right? That, you know, when I offer that assistance, that hopefully somebody, you know, that younger comes along is going to offer that assistance to me. Like,
Totally.
you know, not that I'm expecting like that it's mandatory, but in hopes of that, I offer that
The whole thing,
kindness
Jen,
will come
right?
back to me, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And it
That's
will,
energy.
because you're walking your talk. That's the epitome of what that is, right? Like, I am doing this because I'm now modeling and showing how easy it is for other people in society. I mean, you know, after that woman, like I was telling you guys before, the woman that I had helped grab a meal for or whatever, and I'm standing in line at the coffee shop waiting. And I mean, like, it was a slow coffee shop. There was a girl being trained. It took some time. I could have been frustrated. I wasn't. I just sat there and I handled it. And as I'm waiting in line, I see this frail old woman, speaking of old woman, try to come into the store, and she's got a walker and it's windy and they're big friggin' heavy doors, right? So I leave the line to go help this woman. There was 8 other people in this coffee shop watching. And I had one man turn and make eye contact and give me this smile and nod of like, yes, you did. And as he left, he's like, good for you helping that person. So, you know, just even making such a seemingly small gesture of, let me grab the door for you so you can get in with ease. This man saw it. And guess what's probably going to happen is he's going to turn around and he's going to do that on that next time, because
I was just going to say that.
right? He felt the energy of that exchange, and he's going to go, I want to feel that. There comes the selfishness again. And
Yeah.
he's gonna help someone, right? And it's going to play forward. And this is how we start creating this new 5D world. This is how we start leaning into living from our heart and living on that vibration of just being present in the moment. Yeah, okay, I wanted to get home. I had stuff to do. I was trying to get this woman her meal. I'm trying to do these things, but I stopped again. 0 point. This person needs help. Okay, let's give them a help too, right? And so there's a big, huge rippling effect through that. So yeah, maybe you are helping your future self. And by doing this stuff, how many people in that parking lot could have seen you do that act and go, yeah, you know what? We should be doing that for people, because guess what? We're all people. We're all just trying to human and get through this life the best that we can. And the more that we're coming from our heart and doing this in a way that's genuine and pure and honest, like, holy, raise the vibe of the friggin' world, right? And all the little humans around us get to watch this and also continue to bring that forth, because it will be normalized.
Yeah. And even if that guy didn't turn around and do anything else, you raised his vibe just by him watching you help someone.
Absolutely.
Right. And then probably you didn't even notice, but the people who were around on the street when you gave the lady her lunch when you came back, and they see a lady giving a lady, you know, goodies or whatever, that raises their vibe just from being able to witness.
This is so true. Hey,
awesomeness.
Yep. There is something really powerful and magical about being an observer and being able just to see the things happening, right? Like, not everyone is meant to be the light or the way shower or the driver or the changer or do those things, but even just witnessing, I mean, even the people in on this conversation today, hearing it, tap into the energy of what it feels like to be in that moment. Try and visualize it, because the exchange and the energy you're going to get in yourself is going to raise your vibration. You can feel how good that feels. So exactly like you say, just observing that, just witnessing that, just sharing the energy of that is friggin' huge. And that's what people need to start understanding, is unplug from the fear narrative, unplug from the bullshit, and get in your human body and bring your beautiful soul and let it radiate out of this human, and just love all the other humans, regardless of what choices they make, what decisions they make, what walk of life they come from. That's not your concern. Your concern is, how can I be kind? How can I be love and constantly have that come out of my body, even when I'm in a really fucking shitty headspace?
Yeah.
Especially-
And you can kind of use it as your tool, maybe too, even, you know, if you're feeling kind of crappy about your life, especially if you're feeling crappy about yourself as a human. I know I struggled with that for years. And it was the little things that I've done, whether, you know, it doesn't have to be giving someone on the streets money, but maybe at your job, you know, when you went to the water cooler, you grabbed your coworker a water too, or
Yep.
coffee at the coffee room, and you brought it back and you're like, hey, have a great day. And it wasn't anything. It was the tiniest little thing. But by doing those little things, you're going to have this little bit of pride in yourself. Oh, they smiled at what I did. And it was just a tiny thing. But those little bits of pride build up inside you.
Mhm.
And now you're vibing higher. And now you're like, holy shit, you know, I'm kind of proud of myself. And self-love can really snowball that way. But you might just, try something a little different. Just do anything nice for someone will give you that hit of energy.
And it is the most minor things. I can't remember what the show was I was watching, but it was real life stories of people that were being interviewed, and people who had tried to commit suicide and were unsuccessful, and talking about, like, you know, what their experiences was and how they have these profound awakenings from it, because they're kind of like, oh shit, what am I doing as they're in this process of whatever, right? But I remember there was one fellow who was talking on there, and he's like, yeah, I was on my way to go and jump off a bridge. And he's like, you know, I felt like no one understood me. Nobody saw me. Nobody, like, it was like I just took up space in this earth and I didn't matter.
Yeah.
He said he was on his way to go and take his life. And as he went, a man walked by him in the opposite direction on the bridge, looked him right in the eye and said, hey, how are you? And he goes, in that moment, I was like, holy shit, I'm goosebumping. Holy shit, I'm seen. And that was enough for that man to turn around and walk in the other direction and go home. Just
amazing.
Fucking be seen. I mean, you're so right. It's not spending your money. It's not buying meals. It's not doing the things. It's just witnessing each other. It's just being respectful. It's the eye contact again. The hi, how are you? It's actually having a genuine interest in your fellow humans. It's holding the door or helping an old lady back out of a parking lot stall. It's so small, but it's like, these little acts of kindness have this massive rippling effect that will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's contagious. Yeah,
it really is contagious. And I think that we get caught up in, especially when we're feeling really low, of how hard life is, right? And so it seems like in order to flip that, to change it, to make it different, that's going to be hard too, right? Because life is hard. We work hard. Things are hard. We have to struggle. So the answer to struggle is obviously going to be big and profound and hard, right? To get from there to there. But it's actually the opposite. It's the simplest things. The smaller, simpler little things you do for yourself will snowball into bigger, beautiful things, if that's what you want them to be. But it really is just little things that you can do for yourself to get you on the train to abundance and manifest
kindness. Is what impacted me the most was working for that weight loss company. People would come back to me and say, I hear your voice in my head. What you said made a big deal to me. And I'd be like, what did I say?
I didn't even say anything. Yeah.
But I heard from many, many people over many years about how impactful just even kindness or consideration or the smile or just being acknowledged made a difference in their life. And I was telling a friend of mine, she showed up, we did our last training for a little run clinic that we run. And she showed up on her bike and said hi to everybody that was running this little race for us. And she was saying, people were saying they missed her and all of these things. And I said, yeah, because we don't really truly know the impact we have on other people unless they have the guts to tell us.
Which most don't.
So many people that don't have the guts to tell us that, we made a huge impact in their life and that your kind words made a difference in my life. And that is such a generosity right there, is like taking a moment and holding back whatever criticism there's there and just using kindness instead. So incredibly powerful.
And remember, all those judgments that people put out, when you're putting out judgments on others throughout your day to day, and I used to do this a lot, you're actually judging yourself, right? That whole little kid saying of your rubber, I'm glue, whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you is actually true. As you're judging those people, it's kind of a mirror for how you feel about yourself. So that's something you can kind of take note on and just go, oh, I just judged that again. I just judged that again. And I catch myself judging things all the time. And you just bring all of me back to me and go, you know what? Funny, I'm judging that. Do I think that about me? Or how does that represent to me? And that's been really a beautiful selfish gift to myself as well, being able to see that.
That's such a good point.
Acknowledging those triggers. The triggers happen because we see something in somebody else that we don't like about ourselves.
Totally.
And those are usually the people that we dislike, or the ones that are so much like us in the qualities that we don't like about ourselves. So those are the gifts, right? When we find those triggers, to work through them, to find out what is it about ourselves. What is it about those traits?
It's so true, eh?
Yeah.
Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Mile by mile, it'll take a while. I think I said that on another podcast. It's so true. It's the little things. You know, when I went through all my depression and my anxiety, and a big thing for me was doing volunteer work. And it wasn't, right? Like, it just, there's something really powerful about giving to other people, or giving to other things that are important to you, right? And it can be something so small, like, you know, taking extra blankets down to the SPCA. If you're an animal lover and you want to do that, that's such a small, easy thing you can do and go give, that you're going to have this rippling effect within your heart of like, oh, I've just given to someone in need. You know, knowing there's a family down the road that just had a baby and cooking a meal, and hey, here you go. I know you've just had a baby. Enjoy this time. Here's a meal for you. Or, you know, going in, like, I used to have, we used to live in a place called New Westminster, and in New Westminster, there's a strip there with a lot of homeless people. So that's a big passionate one for me that I've always done for a long time, is I feel everyone has a right to eat. And honestly, I think I'm a pretty damn good cook. And I often cook way too much food. And so something my husband and I started doing is I'd cook these big meals, and we went to Costco and got takeout containers, and we started just portioning out food. And we'd go, there was a church not too far by. So when we take our dogs for a walk at night, we'd stop by and, hey guys, how you doing? Here's a meal. And a couple times a week, we'd go and we'd feed them. And for me, it was a way for me to get back in touch with my heart and my soul, and get out of my head and stop living in the narrative and the crap of my ego, and going, okay, I'm just going to shut you off for a minute. I'm going to go do some cooking, because for me, that is a very grounding activity. And then I'm going to go and talk to people who I feel have it harder than me, and just remind myself to be humble in what I do have. And it was an algorithm interrupt, right? Like, it just kind of broke the day-to-day. It broke the depression. It broke the anxiety. For me, that's what worked. That was a way for me to start helping myself, is living in that heart space, right? And really getting out of the narrative, because that is just the biggest monster. Yeah.
Totally. I love that.
Yeah. Giving back, right? We're all connected more than people realize. We're so
absolutely
connected.
Yeah. And energy is this subtle, profound thing. and you know, it can be affected by so little, and we can be influenced in a positive direction so easily. I hope that people, you know, can take that away, because I know when life is tough, that sounds untrue.
Yeah, it does. And it sounds impossible too, right? It really does. But I mean, like, the one thing that works for me is not going to necessarily work for Jen or work for Patricia. And we're all going to have our individual thing that's going to light us up and make us feel good, and right, bring that peace and that abundance. And I think, you know, no matter what, as long as you tap into your heart and what feels good and true for you, it's not wrong. Right? Like, you're not going to get it wrong.
And don't buy everything that shows up as truth. I really feel like that's important. Like, as you're, you know, going through the day-to-day and it's a bit of a struggle, try not to buy that as I'm meant to struggle, or I have to struggle, or I'm cursed. That was a big one for me, you know, stuff like that. Like, don't buy it just because it's showing up.
Yeah. Use your discernment.
Try and get into that mode of, okay, this sucks. Doesn't mean I suck. Doesn't mean the world sucks. Doesn't mean my life sucks. This particular situation is sucking. So what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
Right. How am I going to move through it? And of course, there's infinite ways to do that. But that first initial, just don't buy everything that shows up, I think is really important.
Your reality or your truth. That's so true, right? And I mean, I think too, and it's probably a big conversation for another day, but if you think of 3D consciousness and what that is and how dense that is, right? Like it's a density. That's because everything is energy, and we come into this world in order for us to manifest into a tangible something, we're 3-dimensional, right? Everything is 3-dimensional here.
Yeah.
With that comes a lot of density. So a lot of like our heavier negative emotions sit within that 3D density. And we have been sitting and conditioned to believe that this is where we have to be. And so a lot of the negative talk you have, or the feelings you have, or the judgment of self that you have aren't even yours. Like if you really check in with, how does that land on my human? Is this what I want to buy as my truth? Is this what I want to buy as a belief? And you go, hold on a second. No. Then it's even easier to step into what is my truth? Like, what choice do I want to make? What is going to make me happy? So really check those things too. Like, excuse me, don't judge the shit day, but check in on like, do I want to own this shit day? Do I want to live in this shit day? Do I want to have this as my truth today? Right? So that you can then make that choice of what is going to be my truth today. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to smile at my neighbor, or I'm going to hold the door for somebody. And it's such a small little thing. It
See
is.
what happens. You know?
And you know what? That's a good one. That reminded me of one of my days that I decided was not going to be a bad day.
Mhm.
It was a day that I had started off and I had like spilled coffee on myself before, getting to work. Not enough time to change, whatever. I'm going to live with the coffee stain. I'm going to button up my sweater, that kind of thing. And it turned out I also ended up like locking my keys in my car. I don't actually live like more than 20-minute walk from where I work. Like it's kind of a luxury, but yeah. So then I decided that I was going to walk home, and that it wasn't a bad thing that I had to walk home, that I had an opportunity to get some exercise.
Mhm.
And it was all about turning around all of these things into a positive, instead of saying, well, here's one crapola day.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm like, no, I wasn't going to let the day get me down. There's all these little superstitions. Whenever I've heard of like you spill coffee on yourself, I've been told, oh, that's good luck. So
You run with that. Yeah.
I was going with that. Oh, it's good luck. Oh, I was getting a chance to get exercise when I wasn't going to before, instead of like turning every little thing into something crappy. I wrote that as one of my memories on Facebook. So every once in a while I see that come up and I go, yeah, that was a good example of turning all these little tiny crappy things into a good day.
Mhm.
And you know what? So much of us judge, even though it was a good day, the last 5 minutes of work or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that was stupid. So now it's a crappy day. And then you realize, no, I was laughing like the whole day until the last 5 minutes before I left. And now it was a bad day because of 5 minutes. Like, was it a bad day because of 5 minutes? No, it wasn't. Should it ruin the rest of your day because of 5 minutes? No, it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Let that go. Like,
that's a beautiful,
don't live in that.
that's a beautiful example of not buying what shows up, right? And making that
And
choice.
So many people will influence how you feel about your day because of 5 minutes of their crappiness. Oh, they just got on the phone and somebody wasn't nice to them, so now they're upset. And then because they told you, now you're upset because you sympathize with them, right? And then everyone in the room, your day just went to crap just because of one person's bad phone call, which who knows if they even understood the person properly. Maybe they
that's just
it the wrong way, and it wasn't even meant to be that way.
That caused it to stick like that, right?
And now you've ruined everybody's lives. Because of 5 minutes.
True. Well, and it's funny that because emotion is energy. We know this, right? Like that's the epitome of what we do, is working with energy and moving that energy. And so it's interesting how, like you say, you can have such a good day and then you have that one shit thing happen and you let it sit in you. And it's like you weren't judging any of your day leading up to that. You were so present in the moment of the happiness, of the laughter, of the connection, of everything that was. And then you have that one crap thing happen and you're like, I'm going to let it sit right here, and my chest is heavy and I'm mad and I'm going to walk around with a little storm cloud on my head, right? And so something like locking your keys in the car, I mean, kudos to you for going, hey, okay, you know what? I'm going to get some exercise. Cool. And just taking it as a happiness, a happy accident that happened, instead of the doom and gloom of, oh, now I've locked my damn keys in the car, right? And letting it really ruin your day, because that allowed that maybe 5 minutes of crap to move through your body through physical movement, through vitamin D coming in, through breathing fresh air, through getting quiet, or even just organizing your thoughts, or being able to be in your thoughts enough to just observe them. Why did that 5 minutes come in heavy? Or not even asking why and just letting it sit there and then move out of you, because it's energy. It's meant to move. It's not meant to sit on us and burden us and hold us down, right? Like you have free will and free choice to move that if you want to move it.
Yeah. And like you mentioned before, sometimes we're moving other people's shit, right? Because of energy being so subtle and everything you go through the day, it might not even be yours. And so you can just move it through.
So true.
Being the empaths, there's times where I sit there and go, geez, this is really heavy. This is really horrible. And it's not till the end of the day where I realize that wasn't mine.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah. And even though, like, you know, lots of these are nice, good tips and hints on how to, you know, move the energy. But for lots of us, it's going to take more than just a couple of little hints.
Yes.
It's going to take a lot more work than you know, just a couple of positive little info, you know, that kind of stuff. Like it's a real work in progress.
Yeah.
How about start here? Because everybody's working through that.
Yeah. And one little tidbit that came up while you guys were saying that, the happy accident, you think of Bob Ross. How can I turn this moment into a happy accident, right? Something crappy just happened. Stop and go, okay, Bob Ross in it. How am I going to turn this into a happy accident?
Little trees and happy little clouds.
Right?
It's nice meditative voice.
Yeah. See how you can turn it around. Just don't buy it all at face value.
And if you are feeling like you're having a hard time and you are buying it at face value and you can't quite move the energy, again, the three of us love it. This is like
what we're here for.
Of our work. This is why we've stepped into this podcast. We didn't get to this place overnight, guys. Like we've had our journey too, and we've had to move through this, and we've had to learn to become the observer and how to do these things. But you can do this too. This is the essence of what we are. We are pure, happy, loving energy within this human form. And the human form comes with density, and it comes with darkness, and it comes with sadness. And it is okay. It's okay. We're not telling you to love and light everywhere. We're just wanting to help you embrace it and move it so that you can get to your next happy moment or your next happy accident. And so, if you're feeling stuck, we've got the Facebook page, It's Hard to Human. We each have our own individual business pages. We have websites you can go on to. We also have our email here, which is itshardtohuman@gmail.com. You can send us an email if you want to talk to us. We also have some links at the header of our YouTube page. So please don't be alone. Reach out if you need some help.
Yeah. And you can talk to us on our lives that we do every week in that Facebook group. That's totally free. That's like a resource. We want, you know, when we're on the live, come on and ask us questions. We usually pull cards and do other witchy stuff too, but it's a beautiful space. If you just need to get in front of some people, you know, maybe booking a session is a little too intimidating at this point, but you really just want to get in our energy and get some tips. That's a beautiful,
drink in the energy,
beautiful spot. And on that note, I will also suggest that you please give the old thumbs up like button to this video, because it is immensely, immensely helpful so that we can reach the humans we need to help, right? Lots of people are out there struggling. And if you hit that like button, YouTube will go, ooh, they have something juicy to share. Let's show more people.
That could be your one good energy exchange today, folks. That video and need this message and need that help. So please, share. Get the word out there and know that you're not alone. We love you and are sending you all an abundance of peace and love and happiness and health and movement of the dark shit.
Yeah.
Not gonna stay. Okay? There's always sunshine behind that dark cloud. It's just gotta dissipate.
I love it. Jazz hands.
Right.
Spirit fingers. Okay. All right. Shall we leave it there for today, lovelies?
We should leave it there today. I really
Okay.
It was good talking. Peace and
Great
love.
talk. Hit the notification bell if you want to see us again.
Yeah. Ding ding. Bye, friends.
Bye.